guys, Yusuf with Faim Marketing doing another episode of Faim Gang or Beers with the Faim Gang. It's actually been super long, and to do a welcome back in return, I got a really good friend of mine, Mike Ambrosio with Intero. The reason I decided that I wanted Mike to be kind of our comeback person for the segment was I've known Mike for, I would say, maybe close to 5 years or so.
Longer, yeah, probably longer than that.
Yeah, I brought him into the Capital Club.
Yeah, good old Capital Club.
Yeah, a long time ago. And it was funny because he came in with his wife, and we just kind of hit it off. And I knew he was like a hustler, like very focused, very had that entrepreneur spirit that I like to associate with. And since then we became friends. He soon became a client after that. And it was funny because we were just starting off, like trying to do the cold calling stuff for our business. And he's like, I don't care if you don't do real estate, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good times.
Cold calling's a tough business, man.
Yeah, it was. All my cold callers at that time were pissed. They were like, dude, we're just getting hung up on, because like cold calling B2B is just a lot easier. People are more receptive. But when you're calling a home or a cell phone, it's a little bit different. So yeah, that was a tough gig. And then after that, he's like, what else you got? And I guess that's what it really takes in being a realtor, right? And just as an entrepreneur, it's just trying different things and saying, you know what, if that didn't work, let's try the next thing and see what kind of sticks. What have you found that has been working for you? I mean, obviously, other than like going out and pounding the pavement, what else are you doing that's like helping?
I mean, always for me, because I'm from this area, it's always been about the people I know, friends, family, past clients. Networking has been huge, getting involved in the community, and it is about trying new things, but it's also about, once you find the things that A, you enjoy doing, and B, work, implementing that in your business plan, and then you don't feel like you're working. So like, for example, we talk about networking, like the Capital Club, or getting involved in different communities and organizations that you care about. So like for me, I'm Italian, okay, if you didn't already notice by my last name or the way I look. And I get involved in different Italian organizations, boards, and giving back my time and volunteering. Or I went to Archbishop Medi High School, giving back my time to that. Or the Capital Club's another example. Those types of things that like are a part of me and I care about, but I also give back my time. And then eventually you get, stuff out of it too. But the key is really getting involved in doing things you enjoy doing, so you're enjoying your time doing it, basically. So that's been really huge for me, and just being organized, being organized, having a business plan, implementing the business plan, having a schedule. As a self-employed person, a lot of people just screw off, you know what I mean? Or they wake up at 9 or 10 and don't go in the office or whatever. You have to treat it like a job. If you do work for yourself, you have to treat it like a job,
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, dude. There's days where I'm like, I wake up and like, I'm just feeling it, like I'm gonna go get it, and I get like a solid 3 hours in, and then it's like, oh no, you could kind of feel the motivation like veer off a little bit. So what do you have, any like secret sauce or any tips to kind of keep you with that same motivation? Because I think it happens to everybody. Like I don't care if you're even Tony Robbins, there's got to be days where like it kind of just dies off a little bit, but you got to find that something that keeps you going. What is that for you?
Wow, that question I could answer. I would say number one, what motivates me now, especially because I have kids, is my family. Is earning a living for my family, bringing home a paycheck for my family. That's the number one motivator. But I think having a consistent daily regimen and falling into that groove really helps me stay motivated. It's not the same for everybody. Maybe you're the type of person that needs to do something different every day.
Right.
But having a consistent routine and schedule is really what helps me, the desire to keep going. And then I come from a family of business owners and entrepreneurs, so it's kind of like it's innate. It's a desire that I have inside of me. And I want to make my family proud too. So I think those are the the three things I would say.
Nice. It sounds like you have your whys down to the T.
Yeah.
I think most people don't. And there's days that I do, I think that I do, and then there's days I'm like, that why is not that strong enough, and I got to really start focusing on like what the why is. And I think for most people it is the family, right? You want to be someone that your family's proud of.
Right.
You know, obviously with the Italians, there's a lot of culture there, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs here in the area that are Italian, and they're crushing it. Obviously, you're in a little bit of a harder industry because you're in real estate, right? And one, it's competitive, and two, obviously there's a lack of homes for sale. So what do you see right now with the market and what it's doing, and what's your forecast on the market as one of the leading real estate leaders in this area?
I would say, so everyone always, you know, that's the number one question I get all the time, and where is it going to go? So I started selling real estate in 2008 when it was like the worst time to get into real estate in Sacramento, because I went to Sac State, and then I started selling real estate there. So to come from that all the way to where we are today, and I moved back, you know, about 10 years ago. So I've been in real estate almost 12, 13 years now. And since 2008, in like 2010, we've seen this run up, and then really the peak of the market was back in 18 in like May and June, and then we kind of saw some similarities of that at the beginning of this year. And everyone always talks about low inventory. Yes, there's low inventory. So that's leading up to the real answer to your question, is that I don't see much changing in the market. I still think Silicon Valley is going to be pretty competitive for the foreseeable future, unless, and we just saw it with the pandemic, something catastrophic happens, particularly to the job and stock market, because in Silicon Valley around here, that most of the home buying is driven by tech, and most people's wealth in the Bay Area is tied to the stock market and tied to their company stock. So I think unless something happens, interest rates affect things too. So if interest rates really go up, I could see it doing a little bit of a slowdown. But the bottom factor to all of that is there's always going to be a lack of land to build around here. We can't grow any more land. So every new project you see around here is all high density housing, high density town, 3-level townhomes, all that type of stuff. There's always going to be a demand for homes with a yard and land. There's always going to be that. And you're never going to see that again around here. A big housing development with 6,000, 8,000 square foot lots. It's just, we can't do it. So that's going to continue to keep. And then the other thing is, if you've noticed, if you've gone to Home Depot lately, if you look at the price of a piece of plywood, that is going to seriously prohibit builders. Builders are already don't feel like building in the Bay Area because the land value is so high. Now you put in labor, which is, everyone's having issues with labor, and you put building material costs. Who's going to want to build around here? Yeah. So I think there's always going to be somewhat of a shortage. What can slow down the demand for that shortage is probably the interest rates and stock market. So the answer to the question is, I can see it being good for the foreseeable future, or competitive, I guess is probably a better word.
Yeah. And so what would you say to people that are like a little bit scared? Because I know for the longest time before I actually, started buying homes, I was saying like, I'm going to wait my turn. Because I missed the market, and that's a whole different story. But I missed the market in 2009. I think 2010, I was young. I was like 21, but I was ready. I had the funds and everything, and I was just being a weenie. And I missed it, and I kicked myself in the butt for years. And I'd always tell the story and stuff like that. And I talked to everybody. They're like, no, just wait, man. It's coming back around. And never came back around. And my mentality was, you know what? That's it. I'm going to make it work. Like, I don't care if I have to work 3 jobs. I don't care if I have to dig trenches. It's just like that entrepreneur mentality that I knew I was going to make it work. And I knew that the expense was going to be up there, and it's always going to be there. But at the same time, I guess that entrepreneur in me was like, dude, you'll make it work regardless. Make it work. And it paid off. Yeah. So what would you tell those people that are kind of still like scared to get into the market, the people that just are still waiting for that perfect moment?
I would say around here, you're in the Silicon Valley, you're going to do well if you if your plan is to hold property for at least 5 to 7 years, you're always going to make it out. If you look at the cyclical property values and what happens around here, you're going to be fine if you do that. Or if your goal is to flip something and you have a plan and you know how to execute that plan as a flipper around here, you're going to do just fine. If your goal's for like appreciation, Silicon Valley is one of the only places in the world you can really kind of bank on that for a certain amount of time. Now, if your goal is purely for cash flow, and we've talked about this at our other, networking events. There's a one lady that does Kansas City.
Yeah, I actually ended up buying like a couple properties in Kansas City, and they've all appreciated.
Yeah, and they have too. And I have some stuff in Detroit, which doesn't sound sexy at all, but I'm making like 15 to 20% of my money. And I'm never going to get appreciation, a little bit. But so it's all about what your specific goals are. So anyways, it just depends on where you want to be and what you want to do. And certain areas are good for appreciation, certain areas are good for cash flow. Some areas are good for both, but it's not as dramatic. So it just depends. So I think that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely.
I forgot what the original question was.
No, you got it. You nailed it. So the other thing is like, what would you tell? Because so pretty much, for those of you that are just kind of tuning into Faim Gang, I know lately I've been posting a lot of stuff about like boats and parties and just having fun, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background. I run a marketing agency, and Mike's been one of my clients, and we stay really busy. Obviously, what we put onto the Faim Gang is just kind of fun, but essentially the culture is entrepreneurship and motivating people to really kind of get out of like that 9-to-5 mind state and go and do something greater, whether it's in sports, whether it's in business, whatever it might be. So what do you tell like these young and up and coming entrepreneurs, the people that are currently like watching, or people that might watch in the future and are like, like I want to be that top dog and whatever it might be, like what's motivated you, and what would you tell, like I said, like our future generations as to like why they should follow their passion and their dreams?
I would say the first thing is you got to grind, and I'd be hard pressed to name anyone that became wealthy or made it big that worked purely from 9 to 5. I think that's what a lot of up and comers like really like. They want to clock in, clock out, and that's it. And I haven't found that work for anybody, honestly. You have to grind. You have to be willing to put in the long hours. You have to be willing to do the dirty work in the beginning. Eventually, you want to get to a point where you can delegate that work, but you have to be able to put in the hard work and build the foundation. It's pretty simple, and it hasn't changed over however many decades, that business has become so prevalent around here. You have to be able to put in the work. And I know it's probably not what you want to hear, but if you love what you're doing, it doesn't feel like you're putting in the amount of work.
Yeah. So. No, I totally agree, man. And it's not always easy, right? Because there's a lot of fun going on out there, and it's so easy to just take that day off and go to the beach and so forth. And I currently struggle with that. I always do. Yeah. But it's just those days where it's like you got to turn down a little bit of, you got to sacrifice something.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say motivation-wise, like I keep goal boards. I make sure I look at that every day, and right next to my computer space, what my goals are, what I have going on, what I need to accomplish. Maybe I don't always get everything done on that every day, but at least it's a visual reminder of what the hell I need to do and what I'm doing it for. So I think I'm a huge fan of like whiteboarding and goals and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, we usually keep the segments a little bit short, to about 10 minutes or so. Is there anything else you want to tell, like the Faim Gang, people that are out there just trying to get it and level up a little bit?
I would just say try to do with whatever you're doing, just have fun. And, it's about you want to make money and you want to do well, but you want to have fun at the same time, or else you'll be miserable. Money can't cure everything, but you want to have fun and you want to enjoy what you're doing. So that would be my main thing, and find what your why is for sure, because that'll motivate you as to what you want to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thanks for cheers. Thanks for stopping by. And if you guys have any like real estate questions, I'm sure Mike would be able to help you.
Yeah.
Like I said, my boy is a beast. He's one of the most humble people that I know. If you mention his name to any realtor in the area, I assure you they know of him. He's been killing it and crushing it for a long time. So they could reach you probably like on your Insta or something. Well, I'll tag you on your Insta for sure.
Mike D. Sells Re, or my website's MikeDsells.com.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be helpful as far as real estate questions. In fact, as soon as we turn off the camera, we have a little real estate discussion ourselves. So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks. Cheers. Keep hustling and stay safe.